Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to take a look at domain and range. Domain and range is a pretty simple concept. It's just the idea, it's a fancy way of saying X and Y. So domain is all the possible X values or horizontal values in a graph, and the range is all the possible Y or vertical values. So let's look at a couple problems today. Here we have a graph. See, it starts down here at this point, and it's moving up, and it ends right there. So the domain is all the possible X values. So it's going from -5 to +5. And this has X values for that whole length. So we could say the domain of this, we look at X, we can say X is greater than -5, and on the right side we could say X is less than 5. All right. So this is one notation. We'll learn another notation later on. But you guys have seen this similar to a number line. So this says, if we read it from left to right, -5 is less than X, which is less than 5. I think an easier way to read it is we have kind of two inequalities here. X is greater than -5. If I read it from right to left, we want all numbers that are bigger than -5. And then the other one is X is, wrong way. The other way is X is less than 5. So we want all the numbers that are less than 5. So putting it together like this basically tells me that I want all those numbers between -5 and +5. There is one problem with this that I forgot though. Notice that these are filled in here, the ends. That means that -5 and 5 are included. So I need to put little marks beneath my inequalities to show that -5 and +5 are included. All right, let's move on to the that's the domain, to the range. So the range, it looks like this. Starts down here at -5 and it goes up to +1. All right. So we always want to start with the lowest one first. So we have -5, and this would read that X is greater than -5. So we want numbers that are bigger than -5. Oh, I messed something up there too. This is the range, so that is Y. So our Y values are greater than -5. Also, they are less than 1. So they're between -5 and 1. And they do include -5 and 1, so I need to put my marks below those inequalities to show that -5 and 1 are included. All right, let's move on. Let's do a couple more. So here we have, looks like an absolute value function. If you guys remember those. And this has an arrowhead at each end saying that it's going on forever and ever and ever. So for the domain, the X values, our graph only goes from here to here, right? From about -4 to +5. But these arrowheads say that it's going on forever and ever and ever, down and to the right. So it's actually going forever to the right and forever to the left. All right? So there are two ways we could show this, write this. We could say the domain, all the way to the left, the biggest negative number in the world would be -infinity. So we could say from -infinity to, and then the biggest number to the right there, positive number, would be +infinity. So we could say it goes from -infinity to +infinity. Basically, this graph covers every single X value, forever and ever and ever. Or a more common way to say it is just all real numbers. Either one of those works. All real numbers, not imaginary numbers. All real numbers. So the range then, it's going to go on forever and ever down, but going up, it stops here at 3. So it's going forever in the negative direction, going down. So that means this is going to go from negative infinity. X is greater than negative infinity and less than 3. So it's going from negative infinity to 3. The graph stops here at 3. It's not, there isn't anything up here above 3. All right, let's look at another one. This one, let's see, it has an arrowhead going down and to the left forever, right? So my domain, my x values, this arrowhead is going down and to the left forever. That means it's going that way forever, and it's going down forever. So we're going to negative infinity, that way, and it looks like it stops here at 0, and it does not include 0. All right, so my domain is going to go from negative infinity and x is greater than that to 0. And we're not going to include that, so we don't put our line underneath it. I'm going to have to go back and check those other ones to make sure I put my lines underneath them or not. All right, then the range. We should put a line underneath here too, because we can include negative infinity. All right, my range is my y values. So it looks like we go from 4 and then down forever to negative infinity again. So we can say from negative infinity to 4, and it does not include 4 for our range. I'm going to go back a step and double check my problems here. It looks like 3 is included in this graph, so we need to put a little line down there, don't we? Alright, hopefully you caught that before I did. Alright, last problem. So this is kind of a crazy looking graph. We start here, and we're going up, down, and then notice we have an arrowhead that way, which means it's just going to keep going on forever and forever that way, up and to the right. So my domain, if you want, you could pause it here, try it on your own, see if you get the same answer as me. Hopefully you do. The domain is our x values. So the leftmost x value looks to be negative 4, and that is going forever to the right. So we can say negative 4, and it is including negative 4, all x values greater than negative 4 to infinity. And then my range, let's see, the lowest part on my graph looks to be right here and right here. They're both at negative 2. And then this is going up forever. So we can say the range is from negative 2, and it includes negative 2, to positive infinity. All right, we'll see you guys in class. I hope you enjoyed it. Bring your questions.